You're talking about 7, 8, 9-figure companies that are coming in. A one person can't do it. So when you have to do, especially real estate is super regulated. So you have to make sure all your licensing is done, your insurance is done, your sales are doing good. You can't do it as one person. I was born in 84, so I wasn't a video game person. It was me outside throwing baseballs against the wall, which my dad didn't like because we had cinder block walls and I was out there throwing and I was busting holes in there. Luckily, I had a little bit of talent to be able to throw the ball hard. I moved out here with a U-Haul. I had all the TVs, all the couches, everything. I took all my stuff and my 3 other roommates, and I was like, peace. And I paid for myself, moved back home.
All right, welcome to Duffy Diaries. We have Keith Beall here today, and thank you to our sponsor, Happy Dad. Keith and I have been friends for about 4 or 5 years. We met on the way to Mexico, actually, which is a funny story we could probably get into later. Las Vegas native, used to play semi-pro baseball, worked at a grocery store, and currently married, lives in Newport Beach, California. Welcome to the show, Keith.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
So let's start with, what do you do currently? And tell me a little bit about that.
All right. So you mean work-wise, right?
Work-wise, yeah.
All right. Basically now I have an appraisal management company, and we started, and we can get into this later if you want to, but did a bunch of things growing up and then switched around to different industries I've always wanted to be either a professional baseball player or an entrepreneur. I always knew that when I was in like sophomore, junior in high school. But all the things coming up to that after banking, I started the appraisal management company because I knew the corporate position in the world. I knew that people at the top always had control over you. So while I was doing that, I met somebody, successful appraiser in California, actually one of the top appraiser by volume. And we got together. When I first moved out here from Las Vegas, I was super broke and he looked at me stupidly, but he saw me at the bank go up and get promoted so quickly that we decided to put business ideas together and start something. I was in credit card processing, but then he's also in real estate and appraising. So he told me something about this thing called appraisal management company. And he told me about one of the people that he knew has this house in Newport Beach that was, he said 30 million, but that would be crazy. But those companies that do that, they make a ton of money.
So for the people that don't know, what is an appraiser and what do they do, and what do you as an appraisal management company do?
So anytime that you do, so if me and you or you wanted to go buy a home, so obviously you're going to have the realtor, the real estate agent that's going to help you find the home. And then once you find a home, actually before that, you're going to want to get pre-qualified. So then that's where your loan officer is going to come in, and there's different levels of loan officers, brokers, there's direct lenders, and then obviously there's wholesale lenders. So all those people are going to help you get approved for your loan by pulling your financials to be able to get everything together. And then once you finance a property with the realtor and with your loan, then you're going to have to appraise the value, because the banks are going to want to know, okay, for these houses right here, if I'm going to loan the loan to value, say if it's 80% loan to value, worth $1 million, they're only going to loan up to 800,000. They're going to want a professional appraiser to be able to go in there, look at the property, and provide an official report to make sure that the property is worth it. Otherwise, people can go around and just say, my house is worth $1 million, $10 million, whatever it is. So what an appraisal management company does, it's a bigger version of appraisers. So say Orange County. Appraisers are going to be, I'm a single appraiser. I'm going to go around, get orders. I'm going to go and appraise a property and do one single house at a time. An appraisal management company is basically like the big brother of appraisal firms. So we're currently in 21 states now. We have 8 pending states and plan to be nationwide by the end of the year. So we coordinate the process.
So you're in 21 states, and how long ago did you start it?
2018.
Okay, so growing very quickly.
We just started to go quickly, basically a year and a half ago. We started with one state, California. We were in 7 to 10 states for a long time because I was doing both. I was VP at a big bank, Wells Fargo, and then I started this on the side. So just aggressively, because I got the right team, finally, instead of doing it all myself, to be able to come in and we went from 12 states to now 21 states in about 9 months. So we're aggressively going, spending the money to be able to do that. So we coordinate the process from mortgage companies to come in to be able to do that. We have over 10,000 appraisers on our software to be able to go through, manage the process, making sure the report comes in, making sure the value is good, really good quality control with a good turn time. So that's basically what an AMC is.
And what would you say the key to your kind of recent expansion is? Is it
Having the right team.
So you were able to split up and bring on good team members that helped you to expand rather than doing it all yourself. So
yeah, 100%. Trying to do something like yourself, it's always good. Like we talk to certain appraisers now, and they all have aspirations to start their own AMC, and they try and do it, and they never do it because it's extremely difficult. You're talking about 7, 8, 9 figure companies that are coming in. A one person can't do it. So when you have to do, especially real estate is super regulated. So you have to make sure all your licensing is done, your insurance is done, your sales are doing good. You can't do it as one person. So when you get to the bigger state level, you have to have the right team members. So that's what I've done. I've built relations throughout the year, brought in some really good partners. And then now that we had our back end that's doing really well, because you can sell all you want, but once the sales start coming in, if your service sucks, they're just going to leave you. It's like anything you do with this industry, it's all about your last appraisal, your last interaction with people. So having the right team, building our back shop, and having the right people around me, that's what said, okay, I'm now comfortable to be able to move forward and expand this a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Than
So classic, if you're too busy in the business, you can't focus on the business. So now that you've gotten some outside resources and brought in good team members, you have time to now focus on growing the business and getting to these other states.
100%. And then when you have a business plan, the partners together, what you're going to want to do is everyone's going to have their role, what they need to do. They can't be a bunch of, I was a baseball player, like you said, so it can't be a bunch of utility players going everywhere. You're a pitcher, you're an outfielder, you're the coach. So now we have that in place, and we're consistently growing our team and plugging in those pieces. And then what I've learned too is you utilize experts as needed. So if like compliance comes in, it gets too much, there are companies that we've been outsourcing and contracting with that we can handle those parts to make sure that everything's going and everything's covered in the right way.
So you mentioned at one point that every appraiser has this dream to go start their own appraisal company, and it's kind of a barrier to entry. That being a concern, is there something you do to try and retain these appraisers? Is there something you do differently that makes them want to stay under your kind of umbrella, or is there any way to control that, or is that just a risk of the trade?
So basically, like the appraisers, what they're doing is they're successful themselves, right? They're looking for the next level of what they're trying to do. So the next level up to not go out and, because you can only drive so many houses, and especially in Southern California, they have to drive up to Ventura County, the San Diego County, San Bernardino County to do that. So their goal is to try and go to the next level, but they don't know how much work it costs or does to do that. So for us, our appraisers, they're all like contractors. So they run their own business themselves.
So like 1099.
1099.
So they don't work for you. So you're essentially like an appraiser pimp in a sense.
Yeah, pretty much. But then also as a pimp, you got to protect your appraiser. People come in and they're trying to fluff value, do stuff that's illegal. It's our job to lay the smackdown on some of the lenders, not in literally, but
Of course.
do that. Yeah, do that. So we're protecting our appraisers, because like I had a very bad company I worked with out of Colorado. I won't say any names, but what they were doing is they were getting the appraisers' contact information. They would get me on the phone, me not knowing, do a three-way call, and they would start yelling at the appraiser and telling them, "Oh, you messed this up." No, you are an inexperienced loan officer. You don't know what you're doing. You think you can just pull up Zillow, not Zillow, but these websites who give their guesstimations that are most of the time not accurate. That's why a lot of them have had litigation come towards them, allegedly.
Yeah.
So that's our job, is to stop that, make sure that they're protected, make sure people don't have all their information to be able to go after them and yell at them. Because in my opinion, an appraiser's license is the hardest license to get in the real estate industry.
Okay.
Because like I have a buddy, John, it's taken him over 3 to 4 years to get his license. Now that he has his license, he still can't do anything over a million because he has to do over 500 more hours of actual appraisal work to be certified.
Wow.
And once you're certified, then you can do FHA, and then you can do anything over a million.
Is that paid time for an appraiser, that 500
No.
hours? So they're out of pocket. So they're not getting paid. They have to get this 500 hours of experience
Once
before
you're
they can even get licensed to start doing appraisals.
Yes, but once you do get licensed, depending on, because you have to have a mentor too. So you have to have an appraiser who's literally willing to take you under their wing, split money with you, and make sure that they're doing the reports correctly. Once they get brought on, then they have to figure out how to get orders. You can't just sign up. You have to basically run your own business, build your own business, get orders that come in, and then you still get a piece taken off to be able to make your money.
Interesting. So I want to transition back to, you had mentioned that you played baseball growing up and your dream was to go pro. Tell me a little bit more about that, and how far did you get? How close to going pro did you get? And maybe what got you into it? Just kind of start from the beginning with that.
Yeah, so like any kid, especially growing, like I was born in '84, so I wasn't a video game person. It was me outside throwing baseballs against the wall, which my dad didn't like because we had cinder block walls, and I was out there throwing, and I was busting holes in there. Luckily, I had a little bit of talent to be able to throw the ball hard. So yeah, my first dream was to be semi-pro. Obviously, I started in Vegas. My family was poor or in the middle. They were decent, and then my dad had a stroke and was on disability. And my mom worked for the government. So always been super paranoid and didn't have the best family growing up, but I love all my family dearly. Mm-hmm. So doing that and growing up, obviously I started from the little league. My whole life was baseball. Growing up, went to high school, and I would like to say the coaches, I didn't have the best of coaches. So I went through high school. I tried to go walk on at CSN, which is where actually Bryce Harper, I don't know who he is. He's for the Nationals. Now he's for the Phillies, one of the best baseball players ever. He actually went to Las Vegas in the Vegas high school, but he played at CSN. So a quick story about that is my school was like, Vegas is 30% Mormon, which is weird because it's Sin City, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's Utah, ton of Mormons that go through there. So for me, because our coach was Mormon, he looked at me as like one of the bad kids, which I wasn't bad. I mean, me and my friends, we were a little ghetto, and we were a little ghetto, but I didn't go out and steal, rob people, and shoot. We got shot at growing up in Vegas, and a bunch of fights happened around us a lot, but we never did that. But so I felt like I didn't get the opportunity with my coaches to be able to go in the big games. But every time they did put me in the big games, we would win. But here's an example. My senior year, I missed my first start because I was sick. I had pink eye, so I missed my first start. My second, third, and my next three starts after that, I had 10 strikeouts, 11 strikeouts, and 10 strikeouts. So my coach said he forgot to put my stats in the paper. I looked at the newspaper. I would have been above every single pitcher in the city of Las Vegas by 11 strikeouts, missing my first game. Oh. And his excuse was, oh, I just forgot. So I didn't get the scouting. I didn't get all those things coming in.
So just because that one mistake, you think it
was one of them. No, that was just one of them.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't get the starts where I should have got started. I didn't get the opportunity to play. Once they would give me an opportunity to play, I would kill it. I was a starting right fielder as the senior because they couldn't do it at that point. But senior, like as a sophomore, I made varsity at the end. Junior year, obviously varsity. But because of I felt the favoritism towards the other players, I didn't get the opportunity that I could have. Like one game against Silverado, they started a Mormon pitcher. He got lit up in the first inning. I came in against Silverado, which they're really good. I scored 7. I pitched the next 6 scoreless innings.
Wow.
And then they didn't say, "Oh, thank you for why don't you just start me?"
Yeah.
So stuff like that. So once
So instead of racism, there is some religionism, a
possibly,
little bit.
possibly, you never know. But after that, so I didn't get really scouted. Like I had opportunity to try and go to Feather Rivers up in Northern California. But for me, growing up in Vegas, I went out there and it was literally had no stoplights in the middle of the woods. I was like, I don't know, I can do this. So I went. Now I forced myself to go to CSN, which Coach Evans, I think Coach Evans and I forgot the head coach's name. They're UNLV. They might still be UNLV coaches. I should have went to Bishop Gorman in Vegas because they would have been my coaches. I think I would have been D1 after that. But every kid thinks they're good and should have been
Yeah.
D1. Whatever it
My
is.
mom said I was good.
Yeah. But I was actually
She said I was the best.
pretty good. So I went out there to the college. I just showed up. I called the coach and I said, let me throw some bullpens for you. And then I started throwing bullpens for him. And luckily, one of his kid, his name was Hamilton. He was the catcher at Vegas High School. He was nice enough to show up and just catch a bullpen because they didn't have to do any of that. So I started throwing bullpens, and I can see it on his face. I'll throw like my cutters, my curveballs, and fastballs. And he's like shaking his head, like, this stuff is nasty. So I kept coming back. The Coach Evans actually changed the way I threw, and I went out and practiced it on my own. And I kept coming back because, wow, you take direction really well. You take coaching really well. He then said, hey, we can look into giving you a scholarship at CSN. Perfect. This is my hometown. This is where I want to go. I don't have to move. And then I went to semi-pro baseball, the NBC league, not MLB.
So do you have to be scouted to semi-pro, or did they pick you up, or you go to tryouts? How does that process work?
So yeah, you have to be scouted to go and do it. It wasn't MLB, so it's not like the draft. So it was like an independent semi-pro league. So me playing with my group of players growing up in Vegas, they actually beat one of the coaches. And then I didn't really have to try out because they already knew me, but I went and tried out with them. And then I was playing with a bunch of older kids who were like college or they got signed to MLB and they came back down. But I was the opening day starter against the Bighorns. So CSN, they're the Coyotes. They just won the JUCO World Series or JUCO Championship. And I think that was Bryce Harper was a little after me, so he would have been after. But I walked in right before that game. I was the opening day pitcher against them. I walked into the coach's room and I said, hey, can you come watch me throw? Because I want to go here. I know because their head coach said they don't allow walk-ons after he basically said, I'll look into a scholarship for you. Oh, I go out there. I'm throwing like 88 to 92, striking the slide out for a couple innings. And then when I was done, I was like, I got this. I found out that he had to go pick up his son from something else or school or something. So he wasn't around to see me. So I didn't get to go to CSN. So after that, I had a buddy. I actually went out Saddleback down here, went through bullpen for him. And
in that kind of same situation, you just showed up and said, hey, will you look at me? Or was there
contact
before,
yeah. So this one, I had a buddy who in Vegas, he was a friend of mine at the time, but we drove down here because he went to one of the San Diego colleges. Okay. So we had to go pick up some stuff. So he's like, on the way, I know how good you are. Just go throw a bullpen for them. I'll contact the coach, and then we'll just make a trip out of it. Go pick up his stuff from SDSU, come back up. So I showed up, threw a bullpen, and the coach was like, go register. But I didn't realize how expensive California was. All these loans and everything. But I ended up enrolling, come down and play at Saddleback to be able to do that. But however, I didn't realize it was like a culture shock. Me coming from a blue collar town in Vegas with no money
down to Southern California,
which is like the freaking Southern California, where it's super rich kids with all these egos. And for me, like I never had serious coaching or trainers because my parents couldn't afford it. But my mechanics were a little messed up. I was coming out great. I'm gonna have a coach who's gonna fix my mechanics like they did at CSN because he fixed it after 3 bullpens. But I come out here and all of a sudden 200 kids show up all rich. And instead of the coaches actually coaching, they just go, all these kids who had private trainers, private this, private that. So my mechanics got all messed up and I had no money. So my mom, she told me, I think she wanted me to move away from my girlfriend at the time, young girlfriend. So she's like, I'll move you out there. I'll pay for your rent. I was like, great, because I can't pay for my own rent.
You got here by yourself.
Moved out here by myself.
Okay.
And then once I moved out here, she goes, "Oh, by the way, you got to pay for all your stuff." I was like, "Yeah, pay for all." What do you mean?
You have
Like,
no.
no job,
I'm
nothing.
assuming you don't get paid for semi-pro.
No, that was after. So after semi-pro, semi-pro is like a summer league.
Okay.
So it's like a summer league, and then after that, I came out to play out here at college, and college D1 and then D1. Your goal would be to go to MLB to
Mhm.
try and do that. But yeah, once I came out here, and then I realized I signed up for the work program, and I didn't realize you can game the system. So I was literally after practice trying to like sweep stuff or try and do stuff, and I'll write down 1 hour, 2 hours, and then like I'm like, how can I afford this?
Yeah.
Towards the very end, when I was out of money, I literally go in there, and for those programs, I didn't realize you can put 40 hours a week and get paid money like the other kids were doing. I was like, why didn't you tell me
And the
this?
campus is paying that, or no?
Yeah, it's like a student work program.
Hmm.
So all you do is fill out your timesheet, but I'm trying to be all honest and nice. And all the other kids, there's only a couple other kids that had that were everyone out here is rich.
Mhm.
So finally, the last time I put on all these hours and they just approved and gave me money for the work program, I was like, when did anyone tell me this in the beginning? I'd have been way better. Like instead of me trying to, do ramen noodles and stuff like
Mhm.
that. But after that, I had to quit. That's why I worked at a grocery store is because the Albertsons was on strike. Sorry for people who on strike. I was the scab, but I had no money, so I had to quit baseball. I had to get a job at the Albertsons in Mission Viejo, and then I had to save enough money, move back, and I was the poor kid was the one who furnished the whole apartment. I moved out here with a U-Haul. I had all the TVs, all the couches, everything. I took all my stuff and my three other roommates, and I was like, peace. And I paid for myself, moved back home. And then after that, I actually looked in the mirror one morning like this and looked like a baseball was coming out my back. And I had a tumor, benign tumor.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like 20 years old. I got that cut out, and baseball obviously was dream was over. So
Mhm.
that's when I switched over to try and be entrepreneur, wholesale car dealer, real estate agent, and just try different things.
So let's
Uh,
talk about that a little bit more. So your dream of becoming a baseball or MLB professional athlete stops. I'm sure you're distraught or sad about that. Not your plan in life.
yep.
What was your first plan of action? So you said it was grocery store first, and then you decided you want to be an entrepreneur. Is that the next step? What did you get into first, and then
Yeah. So me in high school, I always knew I either wanted to be obviously an entrepreneur or a baseball player. Baseball player, obviously number one. It's a dream job. So once I was still in college, I was in debt because you're getting all these student loans. I'm like, I don't want to pay these back. So I literally was going to CSN or college one day, and I turned around back. I was like, I'm not doing this. And then I started a job. I got the job at the grocery store, and then I'm always been trying to look at ways to be more successful because I always felt embarrassed working at those jobs because it just I felt like I could do more. I
Mhm.
felt obviously you think you could be a baseball player, professional, something. I knew that I could do more. After that, I some baseball player friends that I went around with, I would just always ask and be on top and looking for opportunities. So my first business was I was a wholesale car dealer. So go to the auctions, you'd be able to get people to do it, get them financed, and be able to go to the auctions before with them, say,
so for
hey, you
that,
like these
sorry to cut you
cars?
off, but
No,
for
go ahead.
that one, that's a job under somebody, or you just started doing that on your own?
That was a business under somebody else who had a car dealership.
Okay.
So it was a small car dealership in North Las Vegas and maybe like 30, 40 cars in the lot, way in the hood, Northtown. So I had to go through all the things, which I was like, I think I was 20 years old, all nervous, trying to go into all these different places, business licenses. They told me you got to do this and this. So create your own company, go and get your business license, go down, not knowing what I was doing. And then I had to get my dealer's license. So I was able, had a dealer's license to be able to go down to the auctions, which were twice a week. And you would go down to where all the lots are. All the big dealerships would throw their excess cars through or all the wholesale cars. They have them here, they have them everywhere. One was Manheim, one was called the Hollywood auction. So you're able to go and do that. So I had a bankroll for the car dealership. I think they had like a few $100,000 in their account. Once I hung my license under them, you would get you'd be like, hey, I'm looking for a Camaro or whatever. I would take you down on a Thursday. I would go through all the lots. We'd be able to have the keys in the cars. You'd be able to pick and choose what you want. I would look it up what they're going for, and I would say, hey, here's what we possibly get for, and what's your max bid? And you'd give me the max bid, and I'll go the next day, and then I'll try and get it for you. And then I would take a small fee up top on top of it, like $500,000, get you a car for wholesale, get the financed in, be able to use the dealership money to pay. Because once you buy it at the auction, you got to pay cash right away. Otherwise, you don't get it. I'd get the financing, get the dealership paid off. I would do the rest. I was actually starting to do pretty good until the owner's son-in-law or brother-in-law committed fraud somehow. So they had to close down the business, start a new one, and I lost my funds to be able to go and use their funds to buy a car. So then I had I didn't have 40, 30. The second car I bought was an Escalade. I have $33,000 cash at 20 years old.
Yeah.
So that dream got crushed right away. So still working at the grocery store. Then I got my real estate license. I was doing that. Didn't have a good mentor. My buddy, I love him to death. He's coming actually here this week, but he's like,
He was your broker, or he just got you into
he was just my buddy. He was like, yeah. I went with him. We started a real estate team, but we didn't know about cold calling. We didn't know about doing this. Like, I actually did decently.
So you sold some homes?
Yeah. I sold some homes. I learned the business, but there was a couple things that if I had a good mentor, it would have been good. Like one of my clients had to go. She was one of the hosts for Hard Rock. She had to go to this class for her loan. I should have went there with her. They denied her at the door for some reason. And then I lost out on like $15,000 commission and stuff like that. Like I had a family friends who I showed them over 60 houses, and I got them in a contract with another big commission with the new homes, and they backed out because they were super nervous and that sort of thing. So
it's the name of the game with real estate.
You just need it's all about trial and error, especially in these type of businesses. You have to have money saved up to be able to do these things because you're not going to get paid for big chunks of time. So me coming with zero money, it's just go and try and do things. I basically had my degree in the streets, I guess you could say, by just doing experiences, which once I got into banking, I remember being at the one of the top levels, and the people left and right to me all had MBAs, and they were complaining about how they were in so much debt. I'm like, eh.
Wait, okay. So you real estate agent, then, so when did you get into banking?
So banking, once I moved from Las Vegas, I met my ex-wife, who's a demon, and there's a Jerry Springer story, but we'll see if we want to go there or not. So
I feel like we're gonna have to.
We'll go there. I tell everyone that anyway. Yeah. So basically, after that in real estate, I was like, I don't want to work at the grocery store. And my family, the way they were, I didn't know what like a really good core family felt like. So I met this big titty Spanish girl or Chilean girl, whatever, but she was
happens the best of us.
She was a demon. She had demons inside of her, all this stuff. I would have, if I was more successful at the time, or if I just didn't meet her family, I would have dropped her in 2 seconds. But for some reason, I knew it was the wrong decision, but it was the right decision, if that makes sense.
How long did you guys date, and then how long did you date until you proposed, and then how long were you married?
Here's a story about being proposed. Okay. We dated, I don't know, 7-8 months, and we were at Palms. So I had an energy tablet company that I got into. I was 22 years old. And
this is after real estate agent.
This is after real estate agent. I was the director of marketing, promotions, publicity, and events. So we would go out to pools all the time. I'd have free cabanas at Encore Beach Club. There was one at the M that I would go to all the time. My job was to go and promote the energy tablet. And the M pool, which we would always go to, I saw this girl there, and she saw me all summer long, like going around to different girls, talking to different girls. And I saw this one, and then one of our waitresses was like one of our good friends because we were there all the time. And then it's a good decision now, but it was a bad decision then. I tapped on her shoulder and I said, "Introduce me." And then once the girl turned around, I can tell right away. She said, "Oh, this dude's talking to me. Oh my goodness." And she latched on to me. I was dating her maybe 7 months or 8 months. I got hit. I think all this crazy
So during
stuff.
dating wasn't bad. You need
There was already
physical stuff,
there was red flags. There was these things, but
and you're only 22.
no, that would have been a little bit older. I think it'd been 24.
I mean, still young as hell.
Still young,
Yeah.
still super young. But what I did is, you want to go to California and go to Thanksgiving? I'm like, yeah, why not? People love me. Let's go. So I came out here, and it was in Whittier, and then I remember there was this huge table, and her family was there. It was her step family, by the way, her real mom, step family.
Okay.
So they were going around the table, and they're all saying like what they're thankful for. And then the grandpa, the grandma, the stepdad, or I still call him my dad now, but it was like, I was like, wow, this is what a good family is supposed to be like. I was like, this is freaking awesome. Even though the red flags were there for the demon woman, I was like, okay, I gotta do, like, this is kind of, so I moved from Vegas out to here because of her family, even though I knew she was crazy, all this stuff. So once I came out here, he owned a bunch of healthcare companies, and the intent was to come out here and work for him. But another brother-in-law story. So his brother-in-law lost his job, wanted the two brothers, Mark and Mike, to create a job for him and pay him at least $150,000 a year.
Okay.
They end up telling him no. And then they created a nepotism clause. So no more son-in-laws or brother-in-laws were allowed to work for them. So I came out here planning on going to healthcare and working for them. And then I came out here, and another California story where I got moved out here with expectation to get help financially. Done. No. Crap. Okay. Don't have a job. Me coming from Vegas. In Vegas, it's all about who you know. I knew everybody. I can go this, I can get that, be a club host, all these different things I could have done. So I came out here, and that got blocked down. So that's what is leading me. I'll get to banking. This is coming right now. I was trying to do jobs, interviewing. All I do is 6 hours a day, trying to get jobs. And then Mark, call him my dad now, he goes, what about banking? I go, yeah, that sounds good. So I tried to go into US Bank, tried to get a business banker job, but I think my Vegas came out in me. I said, yeah, if you ever, remember the manager, I don't know if he was like super Christian or whatever. It's weird because I'm Catholic, but I said, yeah, if you guys ever go to Vegas, because it's the Vegas move, the club host, if you want to go, I'll take care of you. I have connections. I'll make sure that you get taken care of. That turned the dude off. The assistant manager called me. He's like, yeah, I think that's what it was. So after that, I went to go to interview for Wells Fargo, and the only job was like called a CSSR. It was like basically a banker and a teller put together, making no money. So I went to that interview, and they would go, tell me one of your most successful stories. And I remember everyone's going around, they're like, I was Best Buy customer service, and there was time where they had to return something, and I returned it for them, like stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And I was like, did a whole presentation for a big group of investors at Turnberry Place in Las Vegas. I had this huge presentation going. I was a director for this and this. And I ended up going where we acquired an investment to save our company. And I helped our company go public through my connections. And everyone's looking at me like, what is this dude sitting doing here? So after that interview, I went out, and the recruiter came up to me, or the manager goes, hey, I think you should come back tomorrow for the banker interview. I'm like, okay, cool. Went back the next day for personal banker, got hired. And then from that point on, once I got hired in Laguna Niguel as a banker, I think, I don't know about the record, but I think I got the record of the fastest promotion up 4 levels, because you have to be in a position for a year. I literally got promoted right on the year, right into the business banking group. And all of a sudden, after 3 years into it, all of a sudden I'm in the business banking group in Irvine, this big ass office where all these top people talking to business owners that do anywhere from $5 to $50 million in revenue, and I didn't even have a college degree. And that's where it was. I was sitting in that offices where they're sitting there where, yeah, I have MBA, I have this and that. Like, yeah, I have a high school degree, bro. I'm coming in, my presence and doing things, and it's the way of acting from all the experience. I think that's what helped me.
Age-wise, were you similar age to these people, or are they older, younger?
It was a mix. So once you get to the top levels of
Mm-hmm.
banking, you have anywhere from like high 20s, 30s to like 50s,
Mm-hmm.
60s. These are like almost the top level
Mm-hmm.
business banking group. The only people above them are commercial bank, which now commercial bank and them are one. And then there's corporate bank at Wells Fargo. Corporate bank is like Levi's, eBay, like those big
Gotcha.
companies. Those are the ones that are in San Francisco, the corporate office for Wells Fargo to do that. So that's what got me into banking. And then at the corporate level, I knew if somebody at the top or a little bit above me made a decision, they can ruin my career or cut these things. I knew that. And that's why I've always been wanting to be an entrepreneur. So I started that along with it with my bank job. So I was doing both. And I started that. And then exactly what I thought happened. Someone at the top needed a position. They started chopping up all my referral sources. I used to work with all the private bankers, financial advisors, relationship managers in San Francisco. And all of a sudden, because somebody wanted to change it, all the referral sources I built over 5 years for credit card processing were then cut, and they kept cutting and cutting. And then I got laid off. They paid me a lot of money to lay me off, but I was cool. It was the kick in the butt I needed.
Yeah, and you'd already had their appraisal company going. Weren't high and dry, but it
I wasn't high and dry, but of course I wasn't doing it full time.
so it probably wasn't generating enough money to live off of at that time.
For one time, not to live off. I did make 6 figures one year when it was good during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But once everything changes, you didn't have the back end to be built, which now it's all fully built. That's what trial and error got the lessons done. We did good, we do good, but now we're super solid. Like we just got 2 reviews today that this is the best AMC, super good reviews, very good clients. So we have the infrastructure in the back end built, which partners. So instead of showing the company is good and hoping it's good on the back end, it's overbuilt on the back end and the front end comes in. And now it's just it's awesome. I'm super happy. Life is good.
So let's go back to you said talking about the demon woman. Let's talk about that story a little bit more. So her dad got you into the banking. You had moved back, I assume, with her to California?
Yeah, she was the reason I moved to California.
Or sorry, let's go back even further. So you dated for a couple months, and then you decided to propose, even though it was an unhealthy relationship.
The proposal story. Okay,
Yeah.
so the proposal story was I knew it was an unhealthy relationship. We were at Ditch Fridays, which is a pool party that used to happen every Friday in the Palms. And because we were EQ, which was the energy tablet, we'd walk in, security cards, what's that? Give them, they look like condoms, put in your drink, Eppervest. And then we were there one day, and I remember we were dancing in front of the DJ stage at the pool, and the ex-wife was so drunk. I was like, she had this weird aura. I was like, what the hell is going on? And said something about being engaged. I was like, we can be engaged as long as you don't mind being engaged for a very long time. And she goes, we're engaged? And I was like, I don't know if you want to do it for a very long time. And she screamed, started texting her parents and this and that. I'm engaged, I'm this and that. I was like, oh.
No way. So there was no, that was the proposal.
That was the proposal. That was a
fucked up at a pool party.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, her parents are congratulations. Oh, shit.
And you're 24?
So I was like 25 at that point,
okay.
Around there, 25, 26. I think I married at 26 or something like that out there.
Okay.
But I knew, yeah. So that was the proposal story. And then we ended up just going to the courthouse she made like bride and groom T-shirts, and it was.
How much longer? So how long were you?
Not a very long time. No, because I'm bad, but like girls do it all the time. But because I wanted to do it, to get out here to see her family and be successful, because I knew how good I was in Vegas. I love Las Vegas. It's an amazing town. But out there, okay. But out there, I mean, to be successful, it's like you're a club host. And like, I'm not an industry guy. I'm not trying to go sleep around everywhere. I'm not trying to do all those things. So for me, it was the move out here, to be able to get out here to get closer to her family.
Yeah. So went to the course house, eloped. How soon after did you move to California?
Pretty quickly, which was another stupid thing, which was a red flag from her. But so I didn't have a job yet. I was waiting for a job. She got a job at a Montessori school making $31,000 a year. And she was all bitching and complaining at me. We got to move. I have my job. I was like, it's Southern California. I don't have a job out there yet. You like $20,000-$30,000 ain't gonna do nothing for us.
Yeah.
So we just did it, rolled the dice. Everyone says I moved to another state or another country with $500 in my pocket. I had $1,100.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like was broke. I couldn't. For me, I always have to have a gym membership. Like I couldn't get a gym membership for the first year I moved out here, and that was like the biggest thing for me. And gym memberships are like $18 a month or $20-$30 a month at that time. Like it did not work out well. Like it just wasn't. It was crazy, but I did it. I wasn't scared of doing things that make me feel uncomfortable, and that's what brought us out from Vegas out to here. And then at that point, that's when it started the whole find a job, banking, getting everything else done.
Gotcha. So you're married now for a couple months here. Moved to California.
Oh,
Continue. So what happens
okay,
now?
okay. So at that point, then it was us. Obviously, I've always wanted to have kids. So for us, it was trying to have kids, moving out here, had a job, finally started working for the bank. Everything was good. So we started trying to have a baby. And we tried for a while, wasn't working out. And then we're like, okay, I have insurance through the bank. She has, I think, insurance. We have a good family support system. So we went to go see a fertility doctor. So we went to still go see a fertility doctor. And it turned out at that appointment, she was pregnant.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So she
You
was,
guys had no idea this time.
we had no idea because it happened a couple weeks later where I remember we were getting ready for work and she meets me halfway down the stairs and she goes, I'm pregnant. And I was like, that's it. But I saw her hand. Her hand was literally like this. I'm like, in my head subconsciously, because I was happy because I always want to have a kid. Like, this is amazing, but why is her hand looking like she has Alzheimer's or something? If Alzheimer's shakes. I'm sorry if that's whatever the situation is. But Parkinson's. Yeah. So it was amazing. We did this whole thing with her grandpa, which is Mark's grandpa, which is my dad now, not her real dad. Her real dad actually found out he had some other daughter that his wife didn't know about and that sort of thing. That'll make sense later. But so I went through the whole process, went through her grandpa, went to Fig and Olive, and then she basically pulled her stomach out in a classy way to her grandpa. And, oh my gosh. So the whole family, everyone extended family was there. It was amazing. We went through the whole pregnancy. I did the whole golfing with the family, the grandpa and the stepdad or the dad, my dad, to be able to go through and go back to the baby shower. And my mom, sister, everyone came out, did the whole thing. And then it came to the point where it was time to have the baby. So we went there because she wasn't feeling that good. They induced to have the baby. So it was me, Mark, my stepdad or dad, and we were in the hospital for like 24 hours. And there was a couple things that I thought were odd during the whole pregnancy process. So we went through the whole thing, or the birth as well, the birth process.
Mm-hmm.
And
you were there for birth, held the baby.
I was there the whole time through birth, 24 hours. Me and Mark were sitting there on the couch like, oh my God, it's taking forever, but I'm not the one. I didn't want to look down there, of course. But so the baby was born and there was things coming back and forth because I guess she was pooping inside. So they were worried about us. So the baby came out, wasn't crying. They went over, patted baby started crying. Then I was the first one to try and hold the baby besides the doctor. I started bawling. The mom was, videotaping me and stuff like that. And what I thought was weird is once we were recovering in the other room, I was sitting there sleeping on like something like this. And she goes, oh, you're annoying me. Why don't you just go home? Like, what are you talking about? I'm sleeping. How am I annoying you?
Uh-huh.
So this will make sense in a minute. But so I ended up going home, relaxing. And then a month later, or after her birthday, 6 months later after Father's Day, and it was on her birthday, I look in, she comes in drunk, hammered.
So it's six months after the
6 months after the birth. On 6 months after the birth, at her dad's house, Mark's house, I see her like this with her phone up. And then she's so drunk, it's open and it says from a guy named Sean, I love you both so much. And I caught her right away. I was like, what do you mean? And then she tried to come back with my business partner, Danny. She said, no, it was his wife. It was his wife that she said, I said, I saw the name. I know what it is. I know you've been cheating on me. Like, whatever it is. And then On her birthday, her dad bought her like a $3,000 like Louis Vuitton purse. Me and Mark went in the hot tub, and she comes out. She's like, it's not even his baby, anyways. Threw the purse. I don't even need this fucking purse. Fucking this and that. And I was like, she needs to go somewhere else. Like, I can't do this. So basically, I found out to go back to the hospital. Reason why she was yelling at me to go home because I was annoying while I was sleeping. I think she wanted the other dude to come in and meet the baby that I paid for, that I did this, had my birth certificate name on it and all those things. So I had her get a paternity test and end up not being mine. Had to kick her out.
So for 6 months, you thought it was your child,
100%.
and then you find out at 6 months it's not.
Yep.
And she's been cheating on you. So you guys,
She was cheating on us half our marriage.
wow.
So we were married 7 years and half our marriage. And I knew bits and pieces, and I knew it, but I was so busy trying to get promoted, I made her a fucking housewife. And I only made $95,000 a year at the time. It's like, I did all these things for you, and you're just out there going and doing these things. So that was the situation.
So you quickly after that get divorced, you separate. Um, so let's get into something positive. So then, how did you meet your now wife, and how did that story happen?
Match.com, baby.
How long were you single after that?
So I was technically, I think I was still married just because of divorce. I think she messed up something on the paperwork. Me and her were not together for a long time. The
Like
divorce
years,
process,
months?
like a year, possibly. We were not together for about a year. Then Match.com saw this beautiful Mexican girl, and she finally got it back to me after New Year's. And she told me she's like, I want to have fun, but it's time for me to get a boyfriend. And then right after the new year, like her New Year's resolution was to get a boyfriend. We met her actually Cannery. My first day was at Cannery, and I knew she liked me right away because she said while researching me, she was looking and she saw me pictures with a baby. And obviously I told her I have a kid. So she came in suspicious. So once I started talking to her, obviously me, I'm super open and honest. I'm like, I got a Jerry Springer story to tell you. And then right away, I sort of told her the whole Jerry Springer story. And then I saw her like biting her lip. I was like, okay, I knew she likes me. And then I was like, where do you live? Right around here? So I was like, you don't have to Uber. Like, I'll give you a ride home. And then it's literally right next to where we live now. And she goes, you want to meet Captain? Who's Captain? It's their cool dog. So her and her roommate had a dog, and I met the captain, and she gave me a kiss on the cheek. And then at that point, because she still was like a party girl, me and her together basically were inseparable after that. And we dated for, I think we've been together. We just got 9 years in January from our first date. Been married 5, and she's my best friend. She's the reason I've traveled around the world. Like me, because I didn't grow up not having money. We've been to Ibiza, Thailand. We've been to Greece 3-4 times. Been to Italy 4 times. We've been to Croatia. We've been to Mexico. We've been to Costa Rica. So she is an amazing woman, and she's my best friend. I love her so much, and we'll see if God gives us a baby because we're trying to do IVF right now.
It's amazing. So something terrible happened in your life, gut wrenching, that would destroy most people, but your life's proof that not to give up. And if that horrible thing wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have met the person that truly makes you happy.
100%. 100%.
So that's beautiful.
Yeah, you got to be positive. Obviously, I've had a bunch of bad things happen to me. And there was years where I would blame the bad things happen to me. Where, oh, let's just go drink. Let's go numb ourselves, or let's just do this. And you just can't do that. You got to keep positive. You got to have goals in your life. You got to just do this. For me, I came back to the church, which I was gone for a long time. And it helps. It's awesome. It helps me. It may not help other people, but it's been amazing. And I can't ask for a better wife. And I'm so happy that I made that wrong decision with my first wife, even though in the background I knew it was the right decision somehow.
And you probably wouldn't have been the person that you were when you met Rosa if all that wouldn't have happened. So everything has a purpose to it. And if it's religion for some or believing in destiny for others, like even the process, and things will come around.
100%, brother.
Keith, thank you for joining us today. If you want to do a shout out for your business, Your appraisal business is called what?
Signature Valuation Management. We're in 21 states. It's www.signatureamc.com. Let us know. I'm also on LinkedIn. Whatever you need to do, let's do some business.
All right. And that concludes our episode of Duffy Diaries. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.